When it comes to female MCs who paved the way for the women in hip hop, nobody ever mentions Miss Melody. That 80s wave of female rappers, she was definitely part of that community. Her verse on a classic hip hop song called Self Destruction really stood out. She did a thing on that song. Miss Miss Melody was a great lyricist, y'all, who wrote her own raps and was part of the Boogie Down Productions crew. Every time you seen her in a video or whatever, she always had some fly fashion on. And plus, Miss Melody and KRS-One was the first married hip hop couple. The first married hip hop couple. So let's get into her story, right? Now, Miss Melody's birth name is Ramona Scott, and she was born on March 21st, 1969 in Brooklyn, New York. She was raised in the Flatbush area. Now, growing up, there wasn't much information about her childhood, but she did have a younger sister named Pamela, who went by the rap name Harmony. Harmony could rap and sing too. But, Miss Melody did state in an interview that how she got the name Miss Melody. She said when she was younger, she used to rhyme at parties and everybody thought she was singing because her voice was very soft and mellow. Her voice sounded like a smooth melody. And the Miss, that just came from a rhyme that she wrote, and she just put it in together and she described herself as Miss Melody. Now, how she ended up meeting KRS-One, at that time, KRS-One was living in a shelter in the Bronx, and DJ Scott LaRock was his social worker. But see, DJ Scott LaRock used to also DJ at clubs on the weekends, and he would bring KRS-One with him. That was his rapper. And it was at that club when he and Miss Melody had first met, and they became close, and she and her family let him move in with them because KRS-One was homeless at the time. And they really believed in his dream of being a big time rapper someday. Now, Miss Melody was there when the whole Boogie Down Productions empire came together. KRS-One's song called The South Bronx and The Bridge Is Over was on fire at the time. The Criminal Minds album was out. KRS-One also, he dissed Roxanne Shante because she was down with the MC Shan and the Juice Crew. KRS-One had a problem with anybody who was down with the Juice Crew. And somebody had asked MC Shan, did y'all ever try to diss Miss Melody? And he said, yeah, they used to diss and make fun of her. But in July 1987, she and KRS-One got married. And according to KRS-One's brother, Kenny Parker, he said him and Scott LaRock showed up to the wedding reception in basketball shorts. And Miss Melody was very upset about that. But everything was going good. But then the leader of the whole BDP thing, the whole movement, Scott LaRock, got killed. He got killed trying to settle a beef for rapper D Nice over some girl with some guys from the hood. Scott LaRock's death, man, that was the first tragedy in hip hop. I did a story on this channel a while back. So make sure y'all check that episode out when y'all get a chance, the Scott LaRock story. But after Scott LaRock got murdered, KRS-One became the leader of Boogie Down Productions. And he signed with Jive Records. And Jive Records also signed rapper D Nice and Miss Melody to solo album deals. And in 1988, Miss Melody released her first single, titled Hype, according to Miss Melody. And she also appeared alongside BDP at the end of the Keenan Ivory Wayans movie titled I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, performing the song Jack of Spades. That was the theme song for that movie. That was my junk right there. Jack of Spades, that beat. I just remember Miss Melody line in that song when she said, "No, man, I ain't buying it." Miss Melody. Now, in 1989, she had a verse on the classic song titled Self Destruction by the Stop the Violence movement, which was a supergroup formed by KRS-One. He actually formed that group after a teen was killed at a 1988 Boogie Down Productions and Public Enemy show at the club called Latin Quarters. Plus, Scott LaRock's death also, that had something to do with it. That motivated him to tell everybody to stop the violence. You know what's crazy about that self-destruction song? All the top rappers at that time was on it. And look, LL Cool J was also supposed to be on it, but for some reason, Russell Simmons didn't support the song and forbade LL Cool J, Run DMC, or anybody that was signed to Def Jam Records to get on the song or be in the video. Wow. And his reason, I have no idea why Russell Simmons didn't support the self-destruction song. That song was trying to save the lives of young people. That song told the young people to stop the violence. But DMC and Jam Master Jay, they ain't listen to Russell. DMC and Jam Master Jay still showed up to the video shoot anyway, but Run didn't show up. LL Cool J didn't show up to the video, but he did go to the studio when they were recording the self-destruction song and wrote MC Light's verse on self-destruction. Wow, I never knew that. LL wrote the MC Light verse on there. Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince was also supposed to be on that song too, y'all. But for some reason, the powers that be at Jive didn't think their image was right for the song. Wow. BET wouldn't play the self-destruction song because they thought it was too long. MTV played it though. MTV played it all the time and supported it. And in fact, that was Fab Five Freddy and Ed Lover. They was the first ones to play that self-destruction song on MTV. But anyway, Miss Melodie's verse was one of the hottest verses on that self-destruction song. She was lyrical, man. She said, what did she say? I'm Miss Melodie and I'm a born-again rebel. The violence and rap must cease and settle. I always wonder why any rapper today in this time and generation hasn't put out another self-destruction song. I would love to see a peace song with all the rappers on it, but we shall see. But anyway, now, also that same year in 1989, she released her full debut album and only album titled Diva. And she had some good songs on there like To Sing All Night, What Do You Do, Live on Stage, and the single titled Wake Up, Wake Up, which hit number 28 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles chart, making it her only charting single to date. Now, also that same year in 1989, she appeared in the music video for Queen Latifah's single Ladies First, featuring Moni Love. In 1990, she was featured on KRS-One's fourth album titled Edutainment on a song titled 7 DJs with Heather B and her sister Harmony. In 1992, she and KRS-One ended up getting divorced. They don't say why, whatever, but they got divorced in 1992. After that, there wasn't much info on what she was doing after her divorce from KRS-One, or if she was rapping still or what. But I do know she ended up having 2 kids, 2 sons. And on July 17th, 2012, Miss Melodie died from an unknown illness. Reports say she passed away in her sleep. Rapper D Nice tweeted he had a pleasant conversation with Miss Melodie a month before she passed. And he stated that the last thing she told him that she was proud of him. Her sister Harmony later became a lead singer for the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. And they won 6 Grammys for that choir. Wow. So that's Harmony. Shout out to Harmony. Miss Melodie did have 2 sons, like I said, but I don't think they're by KRS-One, so my condolences go out to them for losing their mother. Miss Melodie was only 43 years old. 43 years old. Rest in peace, Miss Melodie.